Welcome to Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm Rana Al-Basri Mawad, and this is episode 7. Hi, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning in to another edition to my podcast. Thank you for joining me. I'm really happy that you're here. If you're like me, one of the many hats that I wear in my business is the content creator hat. Honestly, this particular responsibility is one of my favorites because I get to talk about the things that I really love and things that I know well and I have experience in with all of you. I get to share, I get to teach, I get to mentor, things that I know it works because I've either worked with a client or during my corporate career and saw results, or I've done it myself and I know that it works well. Most of all, this content creation is the creative part of the business side, and that's why I like it. It helps me to connect with new people who discover me and with the so many of you who have been following my journey. Thanks a lot for that. In today's world, in the behavior of customers and clients, the digital and social connections that we have with each other, content serves as a marketing pillar in growing your personal brand. I know I've said this before, but it's true. It is a pillar in your personal brand, your business reputation, and it enhances the experience for your audience to get to know you and your product or service better. By sharing, by publishing regularly, content serves as your tool to connect, to educate, entertain, build that bridge between you and the people who want to connect with you, the audience who found you and they stuck around because you caught their attention. You've either solved the pain point, shared tips, resources, or helped them understand how your product and your service can bring them a step closer to their desired outcome. However, the content ideation, planning, execution process can feel like a hamster wheel experience. I know that many of you struggle with consistency in publishing and sharing their content. I totally understand that frustration. I struggle as well. But when you're wearing many hats in your business, content creation can take a back seat because it is time consuming and sales is at the top of the list. That's the priority. But the result is connecting with your customers becomes inconsistent and sporadic. This is one of the main reasons why it becomes a struggle to build and establish your personal brand and authority in the field of your expertise. But you know what? There is a science behind planning and filling up your content calendar with ideas and with topics, making it easier for you to plan ahead, create the material in advance, finish the editing, creative work required, upload all of that content into a scheduling app, giving you that peace of mind that you have your content ready and done a month in advance in a span of an hour dedicated for this task. Heck, you know what? You can do that for 2 to 3 months in advance if you wish. Just dedicate a couple of more hours to this process that I'm about to share with you and guide you through it. So, to start, get a pen and paper for the notes and let's dive in. To kickstart this process, make sure that you have the month's calendar in front of you. Now, I like doing this pen and paper style, but if you prefer the computer and that's your preference, both ways work. Now, I'm going to go through this exercise planning for 1 month. You can do the same exercise for 2 months or 3 months, as long as you have the calendar in front of you. The process works exactly the same. So let's start with the steps. Step 1 is to schedule your weekly original content first. So if you have a weekly podcast, then plan the 4 episodes, which is once a week, and schedule that into your calendar. This is the same concept goes if you have a blog instead of a podcast, or if you create videos and publish weekly instead of, a podcast or a blog. It works exactly the same. Just remember to schedule each post or video or podcast in the day that you usually publish. For example, if you publish every Tuesday, don't just write, podcast in the Tuesday box. Write the topic and the article name that you're planning to create. So plan in detail by topic, not just by content type. Now, this is important because the reason why it's because it gives you clarity and the content calendar becomes useful and it will serve you better when you're doing your strategy. So with this step, you have now identified 4 original content posts, the weekly ones, in your calendar. So we can move along to step 2. Now, in step 2, schedule any social media lives that you do. Now, ideally, if you plan on having weekly live sessions, then you can schedule that into your calendar. If you can't do weekly sessions, then bi-weekly. And just make sure that you have that in your calendar, be it Facebook Live, Instagram Live, or YouTube Live. It could be an hour of, Q&As. It could be a quick session of teaching your audience something new, an hour of an open topic, or it can even be like a live chat, you and another person that joins, covering a certain topic. Now, as an example, let's say that you have them on weekly basis and you do them on Mondays. So between step 1 and step 2, you've got Mondays and Tuesdays covered for the month. We're now ready for step 3. In step 3, identify any holidays that fall in that month. Select what is in sync with your business and schedule content for those days or part of a series. Let me give you an example. Let's say we are scheduling for October. In October, it's Halloween. And if that event is important for you, or you celebrate it, or your audience celebrate it and enjoy it, then you can schedule a social media post that should be published on that day. If we think of October again, I'll give you another example. It's the Pink Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And if you're a fitness coach, for example, you could have a campaign, like a series of posts that talks about the topic, tips, discussions, and advice. So for this particular step, when you're identifying a holiday, you need to see if it's within your business strategy to cover it just as a post or just as a series of content, to cover that particular event. Step 4, now, if you're running promotions, sales, any kind of, let's say, for example, contests in that month, schedule it in. So if you're holding campaigns, if you are running a competition, put it on the schedule. And in this particular instance, it's not a matter of one post or one, social media post or a blog post or something. This should be a series of posts or a series of content creation, because you're building up to the promotion and you're building it to the launch day, and then it's during the promotion phase, so you can always invite your audience to take advantage and participate. Make sure that's all on the calendar. Step 4, schedule in your email newsletter. Now, as entrepreneurs, your email list is one of the most important marketing assets that you should build and nourish, hands down. Schedule in your weekly newsletter or weekly email that you share with your subscribers. Ideally, the newsletter should come out in time with the publishing of your original weekly content, which was step 1. Okay, so when it comes out, the newsletter comes out after the publishing of your weekly original content, so that your audience know about it, know what's new, and they can go and watch that video or read that blog post or listen to your podcast episode. So also schedule any other emails that you need to send as part of the promotional campaign, which was step 3. Any emails that you need to communicate with your audience to tell them that there's a competition or there's a promotion or there's a sale, schedule that in as well to make sure that you invite your customers and your audience to participate. And finally, in step 6, repurpose your content and schedule that in. Now, if you're wondering how you can repurpose original content, please go to episode 6 of my podcast, where I take you through 15 different ways where you can repurpose your original content. Make sure you listen to that episode first, because by repurposing your original content, you fill up any gaps in your monthly calendar with amazing and valuable content that you've worked so hard to create. So, with these 6 steps, you have filled up your calendar with interesting, timely, valuable, entertaining, and engaging content. This will ensure your messaging is consistent, you're building your personal brand to become top of mind with your target audience, and you're slowly enforcing the image of you being an expert in your own field. Most importantly, this will take care of the overwhelm that comes with a consistent creating content process and coming up with ideas to plan for a month or even months in advance. Now, as a quick reminder, when you include any information on that calendar or when you schedule it in, you need to write it topic name, not just by genre. So make sure that you have the topic or the content, title in there. This is really important. This means that you look at your month's calendar and you know exactly what needs to be created by topic, by day, and by place of publication. So be it on your website or your social media assets. So let's recap one more time the 6 steps. Step 1, schedule in your weekly original content first. Step 2, schedule in any social media lives that you want to create. Step 3, identify any holiday, select what's in sync with your business, schedule that in. Step 4, schedule any promotion, sales, or contests that you plan to have for the month. Step 5, schedule in your email newsletter. And step 6, repurpose your content and schedule that in. There you have it, 1 month content in an hour. Now, I really hope this episode answers your questions and gives you guidance on this topic. As usual, if you have any questions or you want to open a conversation about this, you can find me in the comments section on ranamouawad.com/7. That's ranamouawad.com/7. Or Instagram. My handle is rana.mawad. If you found this episode interesting, if you think it's going to help someone that you know, please feel free to share it. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. You'll be updated with the new episodes and everything that is published. Again, thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to touch base with you again next week in a new episode and a new topic. So till then, have a great week and take care.